Hey guys, so today we're going to be learning about 8s on pylons.
Fun fact.
8s on pylons started in World War I in order to keep a constant view of the same target, keep your wing on the same point, and have the ability to destroy that target. So if that doesn't get you excited for 8s on pylons, I don't know what will, but you're going to have to learn them anyway. So what is an 8s on pylon? It's a maneuver which the pilot's attention is directed at maintaining a pivotal position on a selected pylon or an object on the ground with little attention in the cockpit. The maneuver involves flying in a figure 8 path around the 2 points on the ground. No specific distance is maintained. Instead, the plane is supposed to be at such a precise altitude that it appears as you're just pivoting around the point. Why do we practice these? To maneuver the airplane accurately while dividing attention between your flight path and selected points, and it's going to help teach and develop subconscious control of the aircraft. How do we perform 8s on pylons? First, you're going to need to choose your pivotal altitude, which is a specific altitude that, based on your ground speed, keeps the plane turning around the point, appearing as if you're pivoting around the point. So you're going to want to keep the pylon in the same spot on your window. When your altitude is too high, the wingtip is going to appear to move backward on the landscape. If your altitude is too low, it's going to appear to move forward. As you're turning and if you're descending, there could appear to be a reversal in the wingtip movement. Sometimes this is called your reversal height. That's how you know you'll hit your pivotal altitude. So if you're too high and your wing looks like it's going backwards and all of a sudden it looks like you're going forward, well, you just passed your pivotal altitude. So your pivotal altitude is based on your ground speed. And I have a formula here for you to find your pivotal altitude easily. It's going to be your ground speed squared divided by 11.3. Your pivotal altitude does not change with your bank, but as you're going in a complete turn, you're going to be going from downwinds to upwinds, and that will cause your ground speed to constantly change, which will result in your pivotal altitude varying. So your adjustments are going to be made by climbing or descending. An easy way to do it is if your point moves forward, apply forward elevator pressure. If your point is moving backwards, apply back pressure. Your corrections are going to be like corrections while tracking a VOR. Once your correction is made, remove the correction when you're where you want to be. Make small corrections, not big ones. As far as your corrections with wind speed, obviously the greater the wind speed, the greater the correction is going to be. If your winds are too strong, this maneuver can be unsafe, so always be aware of your winds. Because you can get too close to the ground, or it can blow you too far from the pylon that you'll have to make too big of a bank angle to correct. So calculating your pivotal altitude is never going to be exact. So a good way to do it would be to calculate your highest ground speed. So you need to involve your winds and calculate your lowest ground speed, and that will give you at least a window that you can be in. Like I said before, if your wind is too high or your altitudes are unsafe, do not perform this maneuver. So before entering the maneuver, obviously you want to do a checklist and your clearing turns first. Then you're going to want to select 2 pylons. So selecting your 2 pylons, they should be 2 points on the ground along a line that lies 90 degrees perpendicular to the wind. So for example, we can pick these 2 intersections along this road. Just pretend these are all roads. Pick these 2 intersections. Here's the wind. They should be in an open area, not near hills. They should be easily seen when coming back for the maneuver and going to the next. They should be adequately spaced, so typically about a half a mile apart or a small runway, or about 10 to 15 seconds straight and level between the points. The smaller the pylon, the easier it's going to be to see changes in your movement. A common error with selecting pylons is people typically forget to think about emergencies. So they'll pick a place where there's no suitable emergency landing area within gliding distance. Now let's enter the maneuver. So you should be at cruise power, straight and level, close to maneuvering speed, not above maneuvering speed, trimmed out, and at your pivotal altitude. You're going to enter at a 45-degree angle to the downwind and make your first left turn around the left pylon. Your entry and exit heading should be the same. Your bank typically should be between 30 to 40 degrees, But what you need to remember is your bank should not exceed 40 degrees. So during the maneuver, your elevator is going to be your primary control for holding the pylons. You're going to use altitude changes, not rudder, to keep the point on the window in the same spot. A common error is people fly uncoordinated, or they're only using rudder to try to keep the point in the same spot on the window. So during your first turn, your entry, you're going to be at your highest ground speed. As you continue to turn, you're going to be turning into an increasing headwind, and so your ground speed is going to slow down, which means your pivotal altitude is going to decrease. So you need to descend to maintain altitude and your point. As you continue the rest of your turn, the opposite is going to happen. So you're going to be going into a tailwind, your ground speed is going to get faster, your pivotal altitude is going to increase, so now you need to climb. Again, use small corrections when you're climbing and descending. So transitioning between your pylons, your rollout should be starting on the downwind heading. You're going to proceed diagonally to the second pylon. Maintain straight and level for about 3 to 5 seconds, and crab for wind drift if you needed. Initiate your turn in the opposite direction when your wing is aligned on the reference point. Common errors in the transition is no wind corrections are made and improper planning for your entry and rollout. So now we're in the second turn, and in your second turn, it's going to be the same as the first. Your entry is going to be at your fastest ground speed, and you're going to descend in a headwind and climb in a tailwind. And the last part, just as I said, remember to always exit on your entry heading. Remember, for most things in flying, poor planning causes a sloppy maneuver, sloppy performance. So plan your pivotal altitude on the ground and always be aware of what your winds are doing and where they're at. Now let's go do some figure eights.